Together, growing in faith, changing communities.
Together, growing in faith, changing communities. My dear brothers and sisters, today I would like us to reflect on the letter to the Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 to 12. The author is trying to answer a rather complicated and yet interesting question. What is faith? And he answers this by making two assertions. Faith is the assurance of things hoped for. Faith is the assurance of the things that I am hopeful for. That's the first assertion that he makes. The second assertion, he says, faith is the conviction of the things not yet seen. Now I want to argue those to be the pillars of our understanding, at least from the book to the Hebrews. The assurance that this will happen. I'm faithful. I'm faithful not because I can do it. St. Paul says, I can do all things, not because I am capable, not because I am strong, not because I am intelligent, but because Christ can do it in me. That is the assurance that we have. And the author continues to say, I stand because the one who makes the promise is faithful. A story is told of a young man who comes back from school and who's crying. And the following day he refuses to go to school. And so they ask him, why don't you want to go back to school? And he says, I cannot go to school because they bully me at school. They take my money, they take my lunchbox, and they hit me. And so his father was worried about that. And the father, being a nice, wise old owl, he says, don't worry. I will go to school with you tomorrow. The following day, the young man went to school tomorrow, and the father had coached him to tell him that he must go and confront those who bully him. And he says, but Dad, I'm scared. And the father says, I will go with you. And so the young man went and he saw this gang of young boys and he confronted them. And at the end of it all, he realized he was able to confront them, not because he trusted himself, but he trusted his father. I stand not because I can, but because God can. And there are many things in our lives that we cannot do on our own. But God gives us the assurance that is going to hold our hand through it all. That's the first assertion. I have faith in God, not in myself. Because I will fail. I will make blunders. Second one is the conviction of the things yet not seen. Most of us do not know where we are going. But we definitely know that we no longer want to stay where we are at. And so I'm running away from something that I do not want anymore. I'm running away from the person I don't want to become anymore. I'm running away from the abusive relationship I no longer need anymore. I run away from negativity and toxic people that I no longer need anymore. I know what I'm running away from. I know what I don't want. I don't know where I'm going, but I have faith that God will put me where it is good for me to be at. That conviction. I don't have all the answers. I don't know what else needs to be done. I only know I don't want this. The third element that speaks to me. Abraham, our father in faith, he obeyed. Why? Because the one who made the promise was faithful. The Lord invites Abraham to move out of his home, to move out of what he knows the best. He challenges him to change his lifestyle. He challenges him to trust him. And part of our faith has to do with letting go. Letting go of what I've known. Letting go of what I've trusted. And putting out my hand with a greater hope that God will catch it. If you take a baby and you throw the baby in the air, the baby will gasp and the baby will laugh because the baby has faith that mommy or daddy will catch me. Children have no sense of fear. They have no sense of danger. So as you throw the baby, everybody else says, be careful that you don't drop the baby. The baby never thinks mommy's going to drop me. So too with God. And so as I go through issues in life, I'm scared, but God says, I'm going to catch you. And sometimes I feel as if God is going to drop me. I feel as if God is going to let me down. I feel as if God is going to walk away. He says, I'm throwing you out there, but my hands are safe and big enough to catch you. Can I ask a silly question? When we throw the baby up there, does the baby make an attempt to come to us? Or the baby keeps on saying, throw me, because the baby, this is good. On my own, I may not be able to come back to God. But it doesn't matter what happens. God is still going to catch me. The fourth element. When you go to bed at night, you have an appointment on a Monday morning. Early appointment. You're going to switch the alarm on. What makes you think you're going to wake up in the morning? I might die in my sleep. But everybody who goes to bed, switches on the alarm, has greater hope and faith that tomorrow I'm going to be alive. Now, this is as silly as it gets. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Why can't I trust God then with bigger things? The other point I want to bring, which is the last point. Just because God has called Abraham out of his father's house and he has promised him a better life, doesn't mean Abraham does not face difficulties along the way. No. Abraham faces difficulties. Lot's wife dies. Children die. They go into places where they are kicked out. There's fights between the servants of Lot and Abraham. And so along the way of faith, I will meet difficulties. I will struggle through life. But once again, dear friends, whatever that which does not break you, it makes you strong. I have said this and I continue to say it. When God trains his people he is utterly brutal and ruthless. Why? Because he believes in your capabilities. St. Paul says, when I was a baby, I behaved like a baby. I ate the food that children eat. But now I am a full-grown man. Don't give me purity or pronutro or whatever we give children nowadays. And so too, as we grow in our spiritual life, in our spiritual journeys, the challenges will be bigger because God has given you enough strength. And do not run away from those challenges, because they are forming you into a better tomorrow. Briefly, let me talk to someone who is struggling, who feels that things are just falling apart. Someone who is in pain, who's hurting, who's probably angry. Be grateful to God you are going through that. Because I want to argue that in your pain, in your struggle, in your battles, lies the answer for your future. Whatever you've been through has not been wasted. NgesiZulu ngithi siqoqa ubufakazi. uNkulunkulu is shaping you up. My dear brothers and sisters, I want to tell you, and I believe this more than anything, Pinetown prepared me for Chatsworth. Chatsworth prepared me for my studies. My studies prepared me for this parish. You are preparing me for the future dimension of my life. You don't know, I don't know where I'm going, but whatever I go through with you is preparing me for the next dimension of Tembelani, wherever God sends me. May the Virgin Mother of God continue to be with us, to protect, to bless, and to guide us. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.